You are crouching at the edge of something that should be impossible. A man, lean, unhurried, maybe 40 years old, is squatting beside a fire in the Tanzanian savannah. He has no gym membership. No protein powder, no structured workout routine. He has never heard of progressive overload. And yet his cardiovascular system is cleaner than a 25-year-old American cardiologist's. His bones are denser than any modern athlete's. His resting metabolic health would make a sports scientist put down their clipboard and go quiet for a moment. He isn't doing anything. He's just resting. And somehow, that is the entire answer. What if ancient humans weren't fit because they worked harder, but because they never, not once in their entire lives, sat down? The answer isn't one thing. It's never just one thing. There's the movement modern science forgot to study. There's why the gym might actually be making it worse. There's the skeleton that rewrote everything exercise researchers thought they knew. And there's what sitting does to a human body that no workout on Earth can undo. Each layer is more unsettling than the last. Let's go. Start with the assumption everyone carries. Ancient humans were physically superior because they ground themselves down with brutal daily labor, chopping, hauling, running, surviving. More effort, more output, better bodies. Herman Poncer at Duke University decided to actually measure this. In 2012, publishing in PLOS One, his team used doubly labeled water, a method that tracks metabolic output with near-perfect precision to measure calorie burn in the Hadza hunter-gatherers of Tanzania. The result? Stopped the field cold. Hadza men burned approximately 2,649 kilocalories per day. American men, largely sedentary, burned around 3,053. The Hadza burned less. Yet they had dramatically lower body fat, virtually no cardiovascular disease, and metabolic profiles that looked like something out of a textbook on ideal human health. The Tsimane of Bolivia confirm it from another angle. Studied by Michael Gervin at UC Santa Barbara and published in The Lancet in 2017, Tsimane men in their 70s showed coronary artery calcium scores equivalent to American men in their mid-40s, decades younger, metabolically speaking. And Paleolithic skeletal remains from Skull Cave in Israel, dating to roughly 100,000 BCE, show femoral bone density far exceeding modern professional athletes achieved. Not through high-intensity training, but through low-intensity sustained walking, hour after hour, across an entire lifetime. The human metabolic system is not a linear engine. It doesn't simply scale output with input. It operates on a constrained energy model, redistributing resources based on what the body is being asked to do. Sustained, low-intensity movement redirects energy toward immune function, cellular repair, and metabolic regulation. Stop moving, and that energy goes somewhere else entirely. They weren't burning more, they were burning better. Now, let's talk about what happens when you stop. Most people believe the equation is simple. Exercise enough, and the sitting doesn't matter. An hour at the gym cancels the desk. This is one of the most consequential misunderstandings in modern medicine. Mark Hamilton at the Pennington Biomedical Research Center showed in 2007, published in the journal Diabetes, that within 90 minutes of uninterrupted sitting, electrical activity in the leg muscles drops to near zero. With it, lipoprotein lipase, the enzyme that manages fat metabolism, is suppressed by up to 90%. Hamilton immobilized the hind legs of rats while leaving the front legs active. The metabolic suppression was identical and localized, which means the exercise you did this morning does not protect the muscles you're currently not using this afternoon. The NASA bed rest studies have been demonstrating this at accelerated speed since the 1960s. 20 days of lying flat produces bone density loss equivalent to a decade of aging, 20% atrophy in postural muscles, and cardiovascular deconditioning that takes months to reverse. The Whitehall 2 study, tracking 10,000 British civil servants under Michael Marmot at University College London since 1985, found that desk-bound clerks had 2.4 times the coronary heart disease rate of active postal workers, despite similar diets, similar socioeconomics, and similar reported leisure exercise. And when Karen O'Dea at the University of Melbourne sent a group of urban Aboriginal Australians with type 2 diabetes back to a traditional hunter-gatherer lifestyle for just 7 weeks in 1984, every single metabolic marker normalized. Glucose tolerance, triglycerides, all of it. Not from adding gym sessions, from eliminating prolonged sitting. Skeletal muscle is the body's largest insulin-sensitive organ. When it goes mechanically silent, It stops consuming blood glucose, stops releasing anti-inflammatory signals, stops clearing lipids from the blood. The body reads it as starvation and shuts down peripheral metabolism to conserve energy. Ancient humans never sent that signal, not once. The gym didn't fail you, the chair did. Here's something else that almost never comes up. The human foot contains 26 bones, 33 joints, and over 100 muscles and tendons. 4 million years of evolutionary engineering designed specifically for ground contact. Daniel Lieberman at Harvard published biomechanical analysis in Nature in 2010, comparing habitually barefoot Kenyan runners with shod American runners. Barefoot runners land on the forefoot or midfoot and generate zero impact. Transient the spike of force that shoots up the leg with every heel strike. Shod runners generate an impact transient 3 times body weight with every single step. Lieberman's conclusion: heel striking isn't human anatomy. It's shoe design. The Tarahumara of Mexico's Copper Canyon run ultramarathon distances in thin sandals or barefoot, and radiological analysis shows negligible joint degeneration compared to age-matched American runners who show significant cartilage wear by their 40s. A study of the Sotho people of Lesotho by J.R. Zipfel at the University of the Witwatersrand in 2007 found that flat feet, bunions, and hallux valgus were essentially absent in adults who had never worn shoes, and that these conditions appeared in direct proportion to how early in childhood shoes were introduced. Roman legionary soldiers marched 20 to 25 miles per day in Caligae, open-strapped sandals with almost no sole. Medical records from the Vindolanda garrison at Hadrian's Wall show almost no documentation of foot or knee pathology, despite careers spanning decades. The shoe does the structural work the foot's muscles were designed to do. Over years, the arch weakens because it's supported. The heel dominates because it's cushioned. Modern running shoes are, in biomechanical terms, a permanent cast. 4 million years of engineering, and we put it in a box. The pattern here isn't effort, it's continuity. And the moment you see that, the whole story of the modern body stops being about fitness and starts being about something much harder to fix than going to the gym more often. Now, let's be honest about something. The ancient body was not a paradise. It was a system. And systems have failure modes. Ötzi, the Iceman, was discovered in 1991 on the Austrian-Italian border, naturally mummified since approximately 3,300 BCE. He is the most medically analyzed ancient human in history. At roughly 45 years old, elderly by Neolithic standards, he had severe atherosclerosis, Lyme disease, intestinal parasites, including trichuris, trichura, whipworm, worn knee cartilage from decades on mountain terrain, and degenerated lumbar vertebrae. He was physically capable by modern standards. He was also in near constant pain. Analysis of 800 skeletons from the Dixon Mound site in Illinois, covering populations from 950 to 1,300 CE, and published by Alan Goodman at the University of Massachusetts in 1984, they found that over 40% of adult skeletons showed degenerative spinal disease. 30% showed healed trauma fractures, and virtually everyone over 40 had severe dental infection. Life expectancy at birth was under 25 years. Infection, trauma, and childbirth complications, all things modern medicine handles routinely, were the primary killers. Evolution calibrated the body for reproductive fitness, not longevity. Ancient humans had better metabolic function, partly because most of them never lived long enough for those systems to fail. The exception proves the rule. What modern humans lost is the continuous movement signal. What they gained is the medicine to survive what that movement occasionally breaks. There's one last thing I saved for the end. The entire modern wellness industry, a $5.6 trillion global market as of 2022, according to the Global Wellness Institute, exists for one reason: to artificially reintroduce the friction that civilization removed. Every standing desk, every fitness tracker, every gym membership, every step counting app, every personal trainer, all of it is an attempt to simulate the baseline condition of every human being who lived before 1850. We built a world so efficient at eliminating the need to move that it now requires a separate industry, a separate budget, a separate act of daily willpower, just to approximate what used to be unavoidable. This is not a personal failure. It is an environmental mismatch. A body calibrated for a world that no longer exists, dropped into a world it was never designed for. Ancient humans didn't have perfect bodies because they were more disciplined. They had perfect bodies because their environment made stillness structurally impossible. Picture him again, the Hadza man at the edge of the fire, squatting, heels flat on the ground, muscles loaded, joints open. Body technically resting, mechanically awake. He isn't exercising. He has never exercised. He is simply existing the way humans existed for 300,000 years before anyone invented a chair. In the gap between that image and the average modern evening, the couch, the screen, the silence of a body that hasn't really moved since morning, the entire story of what we lost is contained. They didn't have perfect bodies because they tried harder. They had perfect bodies because they never learned how to stop.